What's up, everybody? It's your favorite gal pal, Scarlett Cyanide, and welcome back to another episode of Scarlett Cyanide's Sit and Sip. Today I'm joined again this week, 2 weeks in a row, by my lovely co-host.
It's me, Andy Whorehal. Hello.
Yes, hello.
I'm so happy to be back.
Oh my God, I am so happy that you're back. And Andy, of course, we are going to be talking about today, episode 8 of All Stars 10, Stagecoach. Stagecoach.
Yeah.
Was that country?
Yeah, that was good. That was something.
It was something. So this was like an interesting challenge because it was country.
Yeah.
Established, right?
But it was like choreo and all that.
It was girl group challenges.
Yeah.
This was girl group challenges.
Yes. I was interesting to see how the groups would form because last week it was kind of like kumbaya, there wasn't a lot of beef about it. And then it did kind of start off a little tense with all the girls wanting a specific song,
Yeah, the whole
alliances.
Strategy, alliances.
Yes. All of it.
That kind of thing. So, which is good because I'm enjoying this bracket. But I'm also kind of like,
give me the TV. I want the good. I want the good games.
Yeah, very like I'm hot to go. All right, Andy. But before we can get into that, everybody, don't forget to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. If you want to join us every week for our live watch-alongs and also for our King of Drag recaps, you can go ahead and do that by becoming a Seated and Sipping member below. All right, it's that time to grab a seat and take a sip. And let's get into episode 8. Cheers! Cheers! Ah! Andy, let's get right into these MVQ trades. This is the very first MVQ trade of this bracket.
Yes.
So what did you think was going to happen?
I thought they were going to be very kumbaya queen about it, and I was not shocked with the way it went.
It's one thing to just like go ahead, trade your points, like do the partners. It made sense because they were, set up in pairs.
Correct.
The episode before, so of course the partners just did a little tradesies. I'm like, why are we watching them do these long speeches? These awards acceptance speeches.
Yeah, they all had to be very verbose about it all. I feel like the first girls just kind of were like, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Like
good kind of conversation that started brewing from this very first MVQ trade, though, was alliances. Yes. So I'm excited. And of course that conversation really comes up like later in the episode, which I'm all about.
Yes.
Also already too.
Ginger and Daya Betty.
We see, Ginger and Daya Betty. Unlikely pairing,
but
maybe.
We're like, hey girl, we gotta like get each other's back.
Right.
So, because they already know that they both have a target.
They got that target.
Yeah.
And Ginger not only the next day in the workroom, not only has the target on her back, but she has the star. I like how this bitch like continually finds a way to blend in with the workroom, either the wall or the floor or whatever. So before we can get to any sort of hoedown showdown.
Yeah, hoedown throwdown.
Hoedown throwdown, yes. Which it really did turn into that.
Yeah.
Okay. But first, we actually do like a really hard detour from country because we're also celebrating the anniversary 30 years
of Clueless, right? Yeah.
Which 30 years, like
that's literally as old as I am.
Way to shoot a millennial through the freaking heart. Like, so
robot. Yeah.
I was very excited to see a Clueless themed mini challenge photo shoot. How did you feel about those?
I thought it was cute. I thought like the first thing I immediately noticed is I'm like, the quick drag in this is like too dang good, mama.
The quick drag.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, Ginger, you got a full beat on in 20 minutes.
20 minutes, no. They said, go ahead and get photo shoot ready.
Correct. Yeah. So that's just TV magic, of course. But I thought it was very cute otherwise. I thought some of the girls had like the personality just perfectly down. I thought Cynthia was very fun. I thought Denali was a clear winner though. Yeah.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, I really was impressed with Cynthia. I thought she was very funny.
Yeah.
Ginger was, of course, very cute and funny.
Yes.
And, I will say this mini challenge kind of started a trend of this episode for me, which was I was like impressed with Alyssa Hunter.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
She, in my opinion, really came a long way this episode of like kind of showing us who she is, that goofiness.
And that she can be really funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So at the end of this Clueless photo shoot, description, reading prompts challenge, there was a lot going on here.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the goal was, but it was cute.
I don't even know how they really determined the winner, but Denali was the winner.
Her photo shoot was very cute. That's what I liked the most.
Yeah, it was really cute.
Yeah.
Actually, though, speaking of Denali, have you heard about Hair-Gate?
I have not.
The phenomenon, the new gate of Drag Race,
taking over the world. Yeah.
Yes. So this gate is specifically surrounding Denali's hair and the length of her hair in the confessionals.
Oh, okay.
And it was very extra apparent this week, at least to me.
I did notice it at one point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll cut to her and her hair's like this length.
Like longer and the angle of the camera is different.
Yes. And then they'll cut to her again and it'll be like, meh.
Yeah. And she's back to normal.
We have a nice little side-by-side picture here too for everybody that I found.
What it initially indicates to me is that she had to come back for filming later, which means that she probably made it to the semifinals. Yeah. That's my first gut reaction.
That's
like,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it also makes sense because, like, she ends up doing really well this episode. Maybe they needed it for the edit, and they didn't have enough footage in post yet.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We all know how the production goes.
So not only does it tell me that she goes through, but maybe that even means that she,
like, even further
makes it a considerable amount. Possibly.
Yeah. This could be, like, breadcrumbing us,
So we have the Whiskey Chicks.
Yes.
And that ultimately ended up being Denali, Alyssa Hunter, and Acid Betty.
Yes.
And then we have the Mud Flaps, and that was Ginger Minj, Daya Betty, and Cuckoo. I love how, too, they're just calling Cynthia Cuckoo.
They're just calling her Cuckoo. She's not even Cynthia. She's Cuckoo. I love it.
They had to put themselves into groups. And at first,
there was a big fight for the one song. It was strange to me. They didn't want to pick their group based on who they wanted to work with. They wanted to pick it based on the song, which was a little cuckoo to me,
It wasn't like there was any strategy at all about like who they wanted to pair up with.
Yeah, it was purely based on the material, which it ended up being great, but to me that implies almost like a kumbaya, like I believe everyone I work with will be talented kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's what I was getting.
And a lack of strategy.
That part. Going into this challenge, did you have any thoughts about who you thought would do well or who you thought might struggle?
Well, I did worry that like Cynthia and Alyssa, because they struggled with words and like verbiage on their season and like the acting challenges and stuff.
And even like lip syncing, like Cynthia had some pretty big lip sync fails.
Yeah, and so I was worried for these girls going into that. However, I thought that was not even an issue with this, God, they were so funny. Alyssa specifically was hilarious. Her like Kermit the Frog. Oh my God.
I know. Yeah.
Kermit the Frog country.
Yes. There was the dynamic of these two groups actually was so different.
Yeah. It worked so well for both of them.
They really did. And, it was also fun, like, during the songwriting process and the rehearsal process.
Yes.
It was kind of fun, too, because I really didn't know how this was going to go. There was a lot of, like, misdirect going around because we had the Mud Flaps who were very, at least what it seemed, more comfortable with, like, the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then we're really struggling with the choreo.
The choreo, it felt like they were all over the place. It felt like there was no one clearly giving a specific direction. Versus
lots of cooks in the kitchen.
Yes. Versus with the Whiskey Chicks, it felt like Denali kind of took that leader and everyone else was like, cool. Even Acid Betty, who was straight up was like, I'm a professional dancer too. Like, I could have done that, but like, she understands that too many cooks in the kitchen. You know?
Did anybody surprise you, or were you kind of like concerned for anybody?
I didn't know Denali was as good of a singer as she was, but I kind of didn't think she shone with the whole country. Shone, is that the word? Whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't think she was shining with the whole country thing.
Mm-hmm. The girls that leaned into the characters were really smart.
Yes.
It ultimately did pay off because when they were recording it and when they were performing it up,
there was a little more zhuzh to work with.
Exactly. They could do more versus like some of the girls fell into almost like they were trying too hard to be like
serious.
The realist.
Yeah. And it's like, Mama, this is a country challenge. We want camp. Give it to
literally.
us.
Yeah.
We want that Kermit the Frog campy, over the top. Like, I mean, Jordan was saying she could be doing voiceovers and stuff. It was so funny.
I know.
It
for
was
real.
so funny.
Yeah. So let's talk about how the performances went for each group individually.
Yes.
So it started out with the mud flaps, which was very, you know, like, Kerri.
It was like a Carrie Underwood,
Carrie
like,
Underwood thing.
key your car kind of vibe.
Louisville Slugger, all of those vibes.
Yeah, I thought Ginger Minj really shone in her group.
Yeah.
And I thought Daya, again, took it like a little too seriously. I don't know. Ginger was the big standout for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
You know, I was really impressed with Cuckoo.
Yeah.
Overall. I thought her verse actually, like the lyrics,
The content was good.
the content was good. I thought her performance was good, but it's still like,
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, it didn't stand out to me, obviously, as much as like Ginger's, who I felt really stole the show.
Correct.
Daya, I thought she looked great, but
I felt like her choreo was kind of uninspired
kind of.
feeling.
she was kind of, I feel like, really focused on giving you like this like vibe, but it didn't.
It wasn't campy enough.
Memorable.
Yeah.
It wasn't memorable enough.
But the Mud Flaps, it's also notable to say their song was very serious. And they got a lot of critique on telling a story in there. Like, critiques after from Michelle. And I was like, okay, but like the other girls, their song was about being a hoe.
Literally, it was about like giving.
How is
oral
that
satisfaction?
Yeah, I'm like, why are you comparing the content of the lyrics of these songs?
For real,
And it felt a little like, okay, Michelle. Like the beefing with the lesbians, like last episode. So, whatever. Michelle has been having some weird critiques this season.
She kind of has.
fine.
Maybe Michelle's bored and she's like, I'm going to mix it up. So let's talk about the Whiskey Chicks. So like you said, their song was literally about, you know, being a
polishing the chrome off of a trailer hitch.
That,
Mama,
you know,
it was so dirty.
It was so dirty. It was really fun. It was definitely the more like upbeat country song. Wanted to ask, out of these two, which one would you have wanted to perform to?
Probably the Whiskey Chicks' song. I like the campy, the funniness of it all. Like, yes, country can be very serious, but I think it's best when it's not.
I think the trailer hitch song honestly was just like the easier one to do,
because it's about being a hoe, which we can all relate to.
We can all relate to that. But I do think that, like, because Ginger made the Mudflap song funny, and I think the other girls could have too, but they were, like we said, they were kind of more focused on like, I'm gonna write like a real
like realness,
verse, right?
yeah. Like speaking to Michelle through the lyrics,
right?
Okay.
But let's talk about the Whiskey Chicks.
Yeah.
So first up in that group was Acid Betty. What did you think about Acid Betty?
Acid Betty, I said in the live, I thought it was great, and she was on beat, killed it, but it felt her choreo was slightly like uninspired. Like, again, she took it too seriously, and I'm like, you're singing about being a hoe, Mama. Like, liven it up some. I don't know. Felt uninspired.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. Just acting it up even more. Acid is a trained dancer, but I think she is like the least dancerly one of the group.
Yeah.
In general, I think so. I think she's maybe not the least dancerly, but maybe does less with the physicalness. In her performance. So
I thought she did great, but compare
really
that to our next one, which was Alyssa Hunter.
Yes.
She was so freaking funny. The little poo poo is going to be her catchphrase. I know it.
The journey that we went on as the viewers.
Wow. This was her character arc episode.
Literally, because she started off doing that crazy ass Kermit the Frog voice. Where I'm like, oh, she's in danger. Like, if this was a go home episode, I was like, oh,
she'd be leaving. She'd be packing them suitcases, Mama.
But no, God.
She really turned it around with the physical comedy, too.
For me, she was honestly very much a contender for top.
Absolutely. I was kind of not sure if it was going to be her, because I thought Ginger was a clear top contender, but I didn't know if her or our next one, Denali, was going to be the top.
Ooh, yeah. So Denali's verse, you know, I will say I have no idea what she sang about. I don't know what she said, and I feel like the verse itself was a little monotone, but the way that she danced and moved definitely made up for it.
Yeah, her verse was very wordy, I thought, but she was moving that booty, and like those legs are so she's so hot. Yeah, she was moving incredible. So I thought it kind of distracted from the monotoneness. I think the monotone also kind of contributed to her being able to enunciate everything appropriately. However, I would have rather seen her kind of like flub a bit, but I know Michelle is very big on the enunciation, so.
Kind of like, I wonder what did set Denali over the top of Alyssa Hunter in this challenge, because like, we're going to talk about the runway next, which was Night of 1,000 Mileys.
Oh my God.
Even though Miley wasn't there.
Yeah, this episode was like made for her. This episode was Hoedown Throwdown.
Literally so weird, because they did Night of 1,000 Mileys.
Yeah.
But she wasn't there. And then they recorded
with Orville Peck.
And
he
then
wasn't there.
He wasn't there. And then who was there was Jamal Sims. But
who didn't work the choreo with them?
Like, was nobody free this day? Did they film on like a federal holiday?
They were like, it's Memorial Day, Mama. Actually, it could have totally been Memorial Day.
Maybe, but yeah.
No, it's too early.
Like, we're out of town. It's 4th of July. Like, sorry, whatever. Like, while Denali was in the top, we'll talk about it. Like, maybe runway was the factor. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was a really close call for me, and low-key, I think Alyssa Hunter might have been a little robbed.
I would listen to that argument, yes. Because I definitely was not sure, even until critiques. That's when I was like, oh, they kind of didn't really like her Kermit the Frog country voice. Like, I thought it was very, very cute, but...
Yeah. I thought they were...
I don't know.
She did so good.
She leaned into the character so hard. It was so necessary. Like, if you know you're gonna flop, don't flop, and instead make it camp.
Literally, yeah. I thought she, like, made all the correct choices.
Yes. Like, how else was she going to do this challenge?
Right.
Whatever. Okay.
All right, Andy. Let's get into this runway. Night of 1,000 Mileys. And first up was Acid Betty giving you the crystal booby strap.
Yeah. The 2015 VMAs, which was an iconic year for Miley. That was I want to say like the year of or the year before her Bangers era.
Yes. Where she was really like causing a little kerfuffle. And people were like, oh my God, Miley's so scandalous now.
So this was great. This was like the tip of the iceberg of the Miley that I wanted to see.
Yeah. What did you think of Acid Betty's look?
I loved it. I thought it was a cool interpretation. I thought it was a very like over the top, very cutesy, or not cutesy, very over the top, very almost gauche, but in a good way.
Oh my God.
I loved it.
I love that too. Yeah, I think Acid did a really good job of literally giving you like a very clear tribute, but not doing the exact look and like giving it her own Acid Betty spin.
Exactly. And it looked so good.
It looked so good.
Like the hair and everything.
And it was actually so cute when she was getting her critiques, because she was like tearing up because she was actually getting good critiques from Michelle. And like, well, you know, Acid Betty and Michelle have like a little feisty past. Rumored, allegedly, that on season 8, one of the reasons why Acid Betty went home so quickly is because apparently she got into like a verbal
argument with Michelle.
Oh
my God.
Allegedly, I don't know.
Allegedly.
But it seems like everything's fine now because
clearly Michelle is giving her praise. So yeah, and well deserved too. Honestly, that look was great and her performance was wonderful. So yes.
All right. Next up is Alyssa Hunter, who literally came in a Bob Mackie recreation.
It was everything. She looked so good.
From Flowers.
I was eating it up. Yeah, that's when she did her like Grammys performance. Right after she won the first Grammy.
Yes, exactly.
It was so like the windswept hair.
This look was dead on perfect.
Absolutely.
It was amazing.
I was so impressed and so happy for her.
Yeah.
This really was her episode in my opinion, and I do agree with you a little bit. Maybe she's been robbed.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's talk about Denali's look, because as much as I loved Alyssa Hunter's, I guess if we're going to compare them for that second spot, right?
Yes.
Denali's look gave me everything that I wanted to see out of this runway.
Yeah, it was the iconic Miley bangers look.
I screamed when Denali came out.
Absolutely.
I screamed when
she did the reveal to the nude look.
And the finger.
And I was like, this is exactly what I wanted.
It
like,
was perfect.
She did the finger. She did the twerking on the one guy that look. Like,
yes. It was seriously so good.
Everything I wanted.
Yeah.
Everything I wanted.
Denali was so smart when she picked this look.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely, for me, I guess, if we're going to be comparing, I feel like the gaggerini of
this bangers era
that
look, yeah.
and the reveal and everything, like, really just...
It probably, like, I know Alyssa's critiques were mixed, but I think the look is what pushed Denali over the edge. Yeah.
I think so too. Next up is Miss Cuckoo herself, Cynthia Lee Fontaine.
Ate this look. This is her look where she was beefing with Nicki Minaj.
Yes,
this
what's
was
good?
Such a good look. Yeah, Miley was good. Like, this lives in my head forever.
It was so good, and I love too that they dropped some of those pictures of like the Ru girls actually getting to perform on stage with Miley and this look. And this was it wasn't an exact recreation, but it was very close.
That's what I want, though.
Yeah,
like,
it looks so good.
The ones that were exact recreations, like, you know, like Denali and Alyssa Hunters, they were really, really good. However, it's not always the challenge to be an exact. You can do your Acid Betty take on it. You can do your Cynthia take on it. So
Exactly.
This was clearly a cuckoo take on already a cuckoo look.
Yes.
It was so good.
It was so good. And there was just a lot of high praise going on this evening.
Yeah.
And like, there's just some, maybe a little overpraise.
A little overpraised. I don't know why. Maybe
it's
because
we're so shady.
We're being shady. Well, it's because I think they were overpraising others because they really wanted to give that not Alyssa winning storyline.
I know.
I think Alyssa should have won.
They were pushing like a storyline.
They were. They were like, Alyssa.
Pushers.
No, sorry.
Not pushers. I don't know how to segue from any of that, but...
and then our next girl, who was that? Was that Daya Betty?
It was Daya Betty. Yes. So Daya honestly did something that I guess surprised me in the opposite way, maybe a little bit. But she did a very understated Miley look. She did the Met Gala, the net Met Gala look. Literally a net dress with the little short spiky
with the spiky hair and the big gold jewelry on like her ears and hands. Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
It was my least favorite, I think. I don't know. It was kind of understated, and Daya is really known for taking things over the top.
I know.
So it felt like her stepping out of her box, but I mean, you know how it is when the girls step out of the box. It can either flop or it can hit, and this one to me was a flop. Yeah,
you know, and one of the critiques that she got, speaking of kind of overpraise, is they literally said she took this look and made it drag. And I'm like, this was the exact look.
Yeah, like it was like a recreation, like 100%.
Yeah, so I don't know. I personally was a little underwhelmed as well. This is probably also my least favorite look.
Yeah. How is she from Missouri and getting forgotten about the howedown throwdown? That's my question, Mama.
I know she could have some authenticity going.
Yeah, she could just really bring the crystal method to it all.
Oh my God. Yeah, if there's any time now to like
lean
crystal
in,
method, right? Now's the time. So last on the runway was Ginger Minj, and she was giving you Miley once again, another Met Gala VMA. We're not sure at this point.
It was like
Elvis.
Yeah,
it was giving you blue
cute,
Elvis.
I guess she had like Minj on the front, and it said like
something about being young on the back.
I don't remember. Yeah, because it was like from her newer album where she sings about like growing old and how different that is. So it's her more mature album. The fit was cute. It was a little safe for Ginger, I thought. You know, her fourth time around, I really do expect big things from her. And I think Night of 1,000 Miley's a country girl. There are the material is there, Ginger. And didn't you say she had just done an Elvis look?
Yeah, she's done Elvis, like an Elvis look in the past. And I don't know, this was kind of like very exactly what I expected from her. I thought it was like she kind of picked the least Miley look for me to do. She picked like the most Ginger, most safer Ginger look.
Yeah.
Now, the top 2 of the week were Ginger Minj and Denali. Sorry, Alyssa.
Both well deserved,
Yes.
IMO. But.
Very, very well deserved. And they lip synced to See You Again by Miley Cyrus, some old school Miley.
Ooh, it was a good throwback.
It was a really good throwback.
And they had very different styles to the
God,
lip sync.
They
too.
could not have done this more differently.
Yeah.
Like, this is like the 2 different, like, if there's like 2 wolves inside of you.
One of them's Denali.
Ginger, Minj, and Denali.
Yeah, Denali flipping her pussy all over the place. And
Right.
Ginger giving you like crazy like facials. It was so crazy to watch how Denali was like literally flipping and doo-wopping and all sorts of crazy stuff all over. And Ginger was still commanding all the attention.
It was really crazy. It was literally like this battle of old school versus the young, youthful, throw your body around girl.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, for me, I actually did prefer Ginger's lip sync.
Yeah. I thought...
Just because of the song itself.
I thought Denali was doing too much for that song. Yeah.
Denali put like 10 pounds of, you know, in a 5-pound song. And yeah, it just came off almost like
too much.
Yeah.
Like which we all know. Ru likes it when you kind of understate a song too. Ru loves it when you're able to do more with doing less.
The face crack almost that Ru had though.
When she bent over and showed her booty
Denali
hole.
was literally like, look at my booty hole. I'm gonna like rub my hand on my booty hole. And Ru was like, yeah. Right there. I'm like, well.
So Denali just lost in like the first 20 seconds.
Yes.
We all saw it.
Yes.
God.
Ooh, now, okay, so Ginger got the extra point.
Twice.
Yes. So now where the points are falling is Ginger has 6 points. She has literally got max points both episodes.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And then behind her, 3 behind her is now
like
Denali.
Half as many points.
Half as many as Denali.
Yeah.
She's followed up with Daya Buddy, and then all the other gals have 1. Yeah. Oh my God. Next week, I am so excited.
Yeah?
They're reprising my personal favorite All-Stars challenge ever, The Bachelor.
Oh my God, this is going to be insanity.
I am so excited. And
the preview looked crazy.
Because, girl, they're doing it as the Golden Bachelor, which is not like an older person version of The Bachelor. It's a dog version.
It's dog. Like, it's giving, like, Gottmik as the dog that played Lassie. Like, oh my God. It's crazy.
I'm so excited. Like, just the little clips that we saw were so funny.
Yeah. Oh my God, and the girls were fighting too. I can't wait to see it.
I know. I think
next week's episode's going to be so crazy.
Next week's going to be on Hinge. And, okay, so next week is a lot because it's the Golden Bachelor, which is already amazing. And then we have an MVQ trade at the very start. At the very start.
Oh, that's right.
And at the end.
So there's going to be 8 points in addition to the 3 for winning, to the 2 or 3 for winning available. Lots of points next episode.
Right. And so if the girls do Ask the Betty's things and want to pool points, I mean, they could really
elevate someone up to the finale.
Damage. Yeah.
So it's also the last bracket. Can't wait for the good TV it makes.
And we cannot forget that there's still going to be a judge's pick.
That's right.
That returns. Now, I don't know at what point they return. I don't know if they're going to also be returning when all the girls meet back up or if it's going to be a finale thing.
Yeah.
But there's still like a judge's pick in here.
And how is this working again? Aren't they putting like each judge picks a person and then they lottery it?
I think so. Yeah, it's like a lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see who each judge picks.
We'll see.
And who gets put in the lottery. I wonder if they'll announce all that too. I want to know like who Michelle's pick is and stuff.
I know. Yeah. I wonder if we'll get that also
that
next
info.
week.
We'll see.
That'd be cool. All right, Andy, we cannot close out this episode, though, without doing our sips and our spits of the week.
Yes.
So, do you have a sip?
Yeah, my sip of the week is definitely Alyssa Hunter. I think that's very obvious. Her look was great. That Bob Mackie recreation was amazing. And I really thought her arc for the whole episode was transformative.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I love that. And it's no secret that I'm just agreeing with you for all the things that you said. So I don't even need to elaborate to that, but let's go ahead and sip to Alyssa. Ooh, you want to point with us, gal. Now, Andy, it's no secret. I'll go first because I already said earlier in the episode, but my spit is actually going to be Daya.
Oh,
She did not, when it came to the verse, when it came to the performance, when it came to the runway, she just didn't stand out to me. But, you know, I still think, like, she's a contender.
Yeah.
So.
I feel the same way. I'd have to say my spit of the week is also Daya Betty because, again, her runway was not as dragged up as I would have liked. But the big thing for me was that she just blended into the background of her girl group. So, sorry about it, girl.
Sorry, girl. Andy, let's show these people what our at the end of the day is. So, at the end of the day...
What in the Kermit the Frog hell is going on?
Andy, thank you so much for joining.
I had so much fun.
It's always just amazing having you here. And of course, little Mikey as well.
And he was an angel this whole time.
He's literally. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will see you again next week for a brand new Sit and Sip. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves, divas. Bye.
Bye. Why'd I turn it? It has a straw.
I just choked. The Diet Coke went into my lung holes.
Have you ever put Diet Coke in a bong?
Bitch, no.